Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of the mlre tutorial series. Today we'll be looking at the rec page. I'll walk you through the different recording modes and show you some different recording techniques. Before we take a deep dive into recording, I like to point out some key elements of the user interface. The rec key toggles recording on and off. The arm key arms a track for one-shot threshold recording. On Norns, on the second page of the main view, there are two parameters, the rec level and the dub level. The rec level sets the attenuation of the incoming signal. So at 100%, the signal is unattenuated. The dub level sets the amount of the audio material that is preserved. So at 0%, when the record head passes, everything is erased and replaced with the incoming signal. At 100%, everything is preserved and whatever comes in is added to what is already there. If you head over to the parameters, under recording, there are different options that you can set up different recording modes. We'll walk through these when we look at the different recording options. So the first thing we're going to do is going to go through some basic recording. For that, I'm going to select a track. I'm going to make a small loop so we hear the results a bit quicker. And remember, recording is always tied to track playback, so a track needs to play, otherwise it won't record. And I'm going to toggle recording on. That means any incoming signals now will be recorded and played back. So what you just heard was the note I played and the playhead playing it back once. After one pass, because the dub level is set to 0, it will record, it will delete everything that is already there. So turning up the dub level will preserve the existing audio and replace it gradually. So you can hear the signal fade out slowly because it's gradually being replaced with silence. If you set dub to 100%, then with each pass, everything that's there is maintained. You can use this to pile on top of your recording. With rec level, you set the amount or the level of the incoming audio. So if you want to add notes that are quieter, I'm going to turn this down. Now the fastest way to delete a recording is with a shortcut. You hold Alt and you press the rec page key. A screen will pop up on Norns prompting you whether you want to delete it or not. So pressing K2 will just go back. The recording is still there. Pressing K3 will delete whatever you have on this track. Silence. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to set up a slightly longer loop and record something into it. So I'm going to toggle recording on and I'm going to go and play some notes. You might have noticed that the notes that I played at the beginning, they were erased as the playhead had already passed where I currently was. So one way to prevent this is by setting the dub level up to 100%. However, if you have a long reverb tail or some delay, it will bleed over to the beginning of your track. One way to prevent this and to have it record for the exact length is to use one-shot recording. So the way one-shot recording works is that when you arm recording, it will trigger a timer for the length of your loop or your track. And once the time is over, it will stop recording. So just to demonstrate, I'm going to trigger one-shot recording. For that, you need to hold Alt and then toggle record on. And after the length of the loop, it will turn off again. When one-shot recording is active, the arm key will pulse slowly. Just show you again. Going to arm it. It's going to record for the exact length of the loop. Now, if you need both hands for playing, this key combo and of course the timing is quite crucial. And one way to help you with this is to change the behavior of the record key. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the quantize page. To the third page, you can set the record launch behavior. Currently it's set to manual. That means as soon as I press rec, it will go on, and when I press it again, it will go off. If you set it to beat or bar, it will basically wait until the next beat or the next bar and then turn recording on. That's quite useful when you are recording synced to a clock, or you have devices clock synced with Nords. The fourth option is Q. Now, Q is quite useful when you are recording freely like I'm doing right now. And what it does is that it waits until the playhead reaches the end of your loop or your track, and then it will start recording at the first step. So waits, and now it's recording, and now it stops. Another thing you might want to do if you need both hands for playing is instead of doing this key combo, hold and pressing rec to enable one-shot recording, you can change the behavior of the rec key. So if you go into the recording parameters, you can change the default. So right now it's toggle. That means if you press it once, it goes on and it will stay on. So right now it queues up and now it stays on until I turn it off again. So that would be the toggle behavior. If I one shot would be the combo with Alt and then pressing it again. If I'd set it to one shot, it's flipped. So that means by holding Alt and pressing rec, you have the toggle behavior. So it's going to wait, go on, and it won't turn off. I have to turn it off manually. However, because the default is set to one shot, that means I can just cue this on for one shot with one key press. So it's queued on for one shot, and it will just go for the length of my clip. So just to demonstrate, queuing. And so it recorded for the exact length of my current loop setting, and for the from the moment it hits the first step until it goes right over to the end. Now, for those that play an instrument where you don't even have time to actually press the record key, you can MIDI map the rec key. If you go to parameters, down to track control, and you scroll a bit down, you can MIDI map a record to a foot controller, for example. Now, the first section is the focus track control, so whichever track is focused will turn the record key on and off. And you can do this for all individual tracks further down. So that's something for guitar players, for example, that might come in quite handy. Okay, so what I'm going to show you next is how auto backup works. So if you head over to the parameters and scroll all the way down, you have this auto backup option. By default, it's off. When you turn it on, what happens is each time you press the record key, a copy of your current recording is saved to a temporary tape. And if you're not happy with whatever you recorded onto that, you can always bring it back by replacing it with your previous backup. Just going to briefly demonstrate it. So again, I have this loop going on. I have it set up to queued one-shot recording. I'm going to arm it and play. Now I want to overdub on top of this. Now, if I'm not happy, press Mod, press the record key, and you undo the recording. So return to your previous recording. Nah, don't like it, and return to whatever you had before. Now, please bear in mind that if you accidentally press record on, then it will automatically just store another copy. So each time you toggle record on, it will back up whatever you have. So if you toggle recording on and you have something that you don't want to keep, then it's already too late. So you can't back up multiple steps, you can only back up a single one. Another thing that when you record one shot is that the one shot always takes the track length and the track speed into account. So if my track speed is set to something else than the default, so I'm going to speed it up, the length is going to be the exact length of the loop. So irrelevant of the speed, it's always going to record a single loop. To briefly demonstrate, and now we're going to go up an octave. Of course, the octave that the note that was recorded an octave higher, if I go down, it will be pitched down. Same thing if we go in the other direction, or if we change direction. So the note that we played is now in reverse. Bear in mind that when you plan on recording at different speeds, make sure that the rec pre-filter is turned on. It's on by default. What it does is that it prevents artifacts when you change speed or just modulate speed while recording, or if you record at fast or slower speeds. If you don't intend to change speeds while recording, then you can turn it to off, and this will bypass the low pass filter. So everything that comes in will not be low passed by default. What I'd like to show you next is how to do synced recording. So the best way to demo this is by having a drum loop as reference. It is a 2-bar loop, and I've set the track launch to bar. That means when I press play, it will wait until the downbeat and then start playing. I'm going to do the same for tracks 2 and 3, so they are both set to bar. So when I press the play keys, all 3 simultaneously, they'll be all nicely in sync. So the second track will take the double time than the other twos, because these are both set to 2 bars, that's set to 4 bars. Another thing you want to do is go again to quantization and set the rec launch to bar. That means when I press the rec key, it will wait until the next downbeat and then start recording. Remember, I have the default to one shot. That means I don't have to do the annoying combo to enable one shot recording. Okay, let's give this a go. Now what I have is a sequencer, synthesizer, synced to Norn's clock. So they are nicely in sync together. And here you go. Just check dub set to 100. So now I can add something to this. I can add something to another track. One thing you might want to do is, for those tracks that you're not recording onto, is to disengage the records completely. For that, you go to the track parameters and you go to rec enable and you turn that off. So if you look at the key, it goes dim. That means for tracks that aren't rec enabled, you cannot enable rec whatsoever. This is quite good if you have loaded in material, drum loops, or whatever samples that you do not want to accidentally delete. The next recording mode we're going to look into is threshold one-shot recording. Here you need to press ARM to arm a track, and then as soon as the incoming signal passes the threshold set in the parameters, recording will start, and as well as playback, and will last for the duration of your track or current loop. This also works if a track is already playing back. So wherever the playhead is, recording will start and then last for the duration of your loop. If you press record before the cycle of a one-shot recording ends, it will automatically set loop points. One technique that I particularly enjoy is making so-called micro loops. So you press mod and press a playhead position to set the loop. You arm your threshold recording and then you play a note. Stop and repeat. Now, depending on your source material, you will have a lot of transients and you will experience clicks. In order to smooth these out, you can set the rec slew value to a higher value. By default, it's at 1 millisecond. You can go all the way up to 10 milliseconds. Play around with the value depending on your source material. For example, when I play with my Rhodes piano, then you can hear these sharp clicks and pops. Setting this to somewhere around 5 to 6 milliseconds smooths these out nicely. For those who like to do asynchronous looping, you probably would want to set the track length automatically according to your recording. Now, to do this, you need to press Alt and arm a track for threshold. Now you can see that the key is flashing, pulsing slower than the normal setting. So when it's slow, that means it's set to auto length mode. Now, when you press the rec key before the cycle ends, it will automatically resize your track to whatever setting you have. If we look at the track 5, the length is 1.62 seconds, and the track 6 length is 2.55 seconds. Now's a good moment to show you how the track fade feature works. You can enable a track fade by pressing Mod Alt and then the record key of the corresponding track. So currently it's enabled for track 5 and 6. Now, what happens is that no matter whether your rec key is on or off, it will always overwrite your recording according to your current dub level settings. So if it's off and it's set to 70, it will just overwrite with silence for the remaining amount. So track 6 is set to 30, that means it will overwrite more and it will fade out faster than the other. I'm going to set them to different sized loops and record something into one and then the other and sort of switch between both of them. Now you can hear how they are slowly fading in and out. To turn track fade off again, press Mod, hold Alt, and press the according rec keys. One way I like to use track fade is when I have a track set as a return track, so no matter whether rec is on or off, the delay will always slowly fade out. The very last recording mode is a bit hidden. You need to go to the track parameters and head all the way down to the track trigger section. The parameter rec at step will set at which step recording will be toggled on and off. So being set at step 5, when it reaches step 5, recording is turned on, and when it reaches that step, it turns off again. This is nice when you want your recording to be turned on and off at specific intervals. Also, you can set this up for each track independently. Another way to automate recording is by recording the state as an event. You can do this either with patterns, with snapshots, or punch-ins. I'll cover those in depth in the next video where we look at the macro page. But for now, I'd like to show you a little technique I particularly enjoy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to arm a pattern and record a sequence of turning record on and off. Now I have this loop of the record state toggling on and off at different intervals. This is quite nice when you record chords or layered sounds into it. So you get this nice sort of random stutter effect. Again, if you experience clicks and you want to get rid of those, head over to the recording parameters and turn your rec slew up until you lose those clicks. Thanks for sticking around. If you have any questions, feel free to post them online in the mlre thread. Goodbye.